Okay, so this is the case I had kept, well, I keep bringing up, and it's a really good example of men and they're flipping the script and leaving things out. And I was saying, I go, it's very common when things are out of context, right? So social media has this major issue and it's used to bully other women. So men keep doing this. Like if somebody goes, what should we do with these rape victims? We should kill them. Okay, so this is a real scenario that happened. And so there was a list of guys, like there was a bunch of them talking back and forth to each other, like on this string on Twitter. And so I said, yeah, yeah, that's what you should do. Like a very sarcastic comment back, right? It wasn't even mean, you guys. It was the most lamest, like, response ever. What happens? So if you take it out of context, it makes it sound like I'm saying that that's what you should do to us, right? Uh-huh. So they did that, and everybody would know I would never say that about any victims because I'm one of the most outspoken ones out here, okay? And so they came back at me and threw me on a suspension. I'm like, oh, okay, what about the person that said that? I sent this thing to them. I go, I didn't say anything bad. I didn't break any rule at all. I absolutely didn't. I was like, I stand by that completely. And so I was like, you need to look at the full context of what was being said, and you're allowing people to say to kill rape victims on your platform, which I didn't say that. And so it was a sarcastic response, right, to these guys going on. There was a bunch of them. There was like a bunch of guys in this like threaded thing. And so, no. So then they kept bullying me and bullying me and bullying me doing that, right? This story kind of highlights that kind of same thing there. When you leave something out, right? If you leave something out purposely, it could change the whole story, right? But cops do this all the time. They'll come to the house, they change the whole story, and then all of a sudden nothing ever happened. I was like, wow, that's great. So the victim doesn't want it to be political. I try to make none of this political. My parents were law enforcement, so I literally know, you know what I mean? So for me, it's just like, oh, my shitty ass parents, or what are they doing today? Anyway, it's like the woman was seen being violently restrained by her cop ex-boyfriend. So I guess he's married. He was cheating on her with her, maybe, and they broke up. I don't know. Who then had forcibly committed to a mental hospital on allegedly bogus claims. Said video of the incident speaks for itself, and she is working to disprove the claims he made against her. I was not expecting to be a political football. I just wanted to clear my name, Michelle, 37, said on Tuesday. So she declined to comment on specifics of the case due to the pending litigation against Officer Ronald Davis, also 37, who is currently behind bars over allegations that he used his power at a Pennsylvania state trooper to have her falsely imprisoned. Man, there's a lot of men out here that have done this, mostly in the past. I think it was a bigger thing in the past, but I don't know what's going on right now. But yeah, calling women crazy, setting it up, and knowing they're not, right? Oh, I'm gonna pin you as crazy. Yeah. I mean, now, mind you, some people do need that help, but this is one of the lowest things ever. Anyway, it says, it's just unfortunate that it had to get to this point, she said. I just don't want everybody's family and everybody's stuff dragged into this. Formerly a director of communications for Douglas Real Estate, who spent her evenings attending Manhattan cocktail parties, she said the abuse she suffered at the hands of an authority figure in the backwoods of Pennsylvania was merely one example of an age-old societal problem. All right. And this is a bigger picture issue for a lot of people, she said. Yes. And this has been going on since the dawn of time. Yes. Though cops that were just from when okay, so they started in the 1800s, is that right? Because I was looking at like at least when LAPD and the other department started, it was like in the mid 1800s or something, this concept of cops. If there's anything prior to that, then I am out of the loop on it. But most people don't trust cops. And it's funny, me dating a cop, she added, but declined to elaborate why. And then it says she found herself locked up against her will at the Lehigh Valley Hospital for several days at the end of August after Davis used a series of well, these suicidal text messages, right? And she sent him to obtain an involuntary mental health commitment against her. Okay, I want to stop there for a second. Social media has been doing a similar thing, which is pretty bullshit. Some people have a comment like, okay, if you're under stress or you're just venting, people will say things like this, right? And most of the time it's not serious. There is a different type of language that someone uses if they're actually really going to try to do it. And yeah. So when officers from the troop failed to locate her, I know, you know what they do though? They ban people for posting like that. I'm like, you're insane. I don't know who came up with all these rules, but they're mentally ill, whoever came up with these rules, because I wouldn't have been able to rescue somebody had they banned the person for posting that stuff. And so they try to ban people and mute them from posting stuff like this. I cannot take it. People are just stupid. They're just low IQ idiots, and I have no tolerance for it. I can't. I don't know, everything's about bullying other people and doing the wrong things all the time, right? And here's an example of that. So, okay, when officers from his troop failed to locate her, Davis said, I'll take care of it myself, and drove to a picnic area, Greenland Track State Forest, where he found her and without explanation chased her down and restrained her. She wasn't even in the middle of doing anything, right? It would be different if she was like about to cut her wrist and he's like, I gotta stop her from hurting herself, right? Right, right. But that didn't happen. So, according to a criminal complaint filed by the county district attorney, as Davis was off duty at the time and gave no indication that he was acting in any official capacity and apparently bewildered and scared uh, Perfano, I guess is their last name, fought back and insisted she'd done nothing wrong as Davis' body slammed her to the gravel and pinned her for over 10 minutes. I watched the video. It was insane. I was like, that, and then she goes, you're insane. And she could be heard saying, Davis, you're absolutely insane. And then you painted me to look insane. And then when police arrived, she was taken to the mental health clinic, only to be released days later after she was deemed mentally sound and not a danger to herself. After their initial evaluation, there's nothing wrong with her. He tried to say that she was going to commit suicide, and I can't see that. The friends and former roommate, 65-year-old Joseph, told the Post. She's too free spirited. She has a brilliant mind. Prosecutors agreed, alleging Davis intentionally misrepresented the text, right? Misrepresented the text. So people like Jack, from Twitter and people like that were working on the inside kept misrepresenting context of what we're talking about, right? And now we have Instagram doing that same thing. And they put this in a program. I know it's pretty much a program thing because it was like right when I posted it, it went haywire. Absolutely taped it going haywire. It was really crazy. It was crazy. It went haywire for like fucking 5-10 minutes, dude, on my screen. Um, yeah, and I was like, why did it do that? And so I want to, dispute like their bullshit on me. So they keep, they're trying to tell me how I should feel. They're trying to, these different things. But something was totally out of context. A couple of things, and I just left it alone. And I was like, I'm just going to repost it, which I did. And then there was no issue, right? But I said essentially the same thing. Um, and I was explaining basically, I was explaining the hate speech on us by churches, right? So they were hitting me on the hate speech by other people, right? So I was actually trying to explain this. I don't know, people, there's not a lot of people reading it, maybe, but yeah, I mean, I sometimes get hit up quite a bit, like people reading it. But Yeah, so I got in trouble for talking to myself, basically, technically. It wasn't to anybody. It's like a long, drawn out story thing. So I'm like, I'm really getting busted for talking to myself. One said I was bullying myself, I guess, apparently. I was talking about a real story that from, this other thing, and I was angry about, I'm writing the story out. And then it says, we don't tolerate bullying. And I'm like, huh? Yeah. So, yeah, their system. And so then I rewrote it again, and then no issue with the rewrite of that, right? Yeah. I'm not talking to anybody. How am I bullying anybody? I'm talking about people in my story that have done stuff, but that definitely wasn't bullying. So yeah, we're having that problem, the out of context things, because they're targeting me for the way that I am as a human. So yeah, that's pissing me off really bad. Like they want me to be a human, to be like them, and I'm not gonna ever be like them. And I could be autistic too, you know what I mean? Like they're picking on me because of my disabilities when I type. They're picking because if there's not proper punctuations, you can read things wrong. But that's not my fault. I have a disability of a sort. That's not a made up thing. And they continually bully me over disabilities. That's really bad. So out of context, not proper. I would never say those things. I would never say the things what they're claiming that I would or did. So this one hits home for me because I get the whole picture of this. So the texts were part of an ongoing argument between the pair sparked after Davis reportedly locked her out of his trailer where she'd been staying and prevented her from collecting her belongings when she voiced plans to leave town. So he's an abusive piece of shit. Wouldn't let her get her stuff. So she has a right to be mad, right? Yeah, definitely. So, like, then they come after us women online. Like, somebody's doing something. This is the socio, right? The boyfriend is the socio. And he's egging something on, right? He's being abusive. He's like dangling, it's like dangling the carrot, like to their victim, right? And they're going to stir them up so bad until they blow. And this is when the socio comes and plays the victim and he gets you in trouble, right? I don't know what it's called, but that's a typical scenario, and we should talk about that more actually. So it's a thing, and so I call him the agitator. It's kind of like that. So they'll keep agitating you and agitating because they're trying to get a rise out of you, and then they'll wait till you totally blow up, and then they play the victim, and then you get busted. And no matter what you say, like you could sit there and say you could try to ignore that stuff. No, those maybe people consider it like pushing your buttons, kind of that thing right there. But this is pretty bad. So he's abusing her and all this, and so it's causing her to kind of start to blow, right, and flip out. So it's like I'm going to drive off a cliff, man. It's like what the hell? It's just common talk, right? It's like if this is where I'm supposed to die, then so be it. Like you're totally mad and you're just blowing off steam. And then it's all, my mental health doesn't matter. I'm a useless, old, stupid, uneducated piece of shit. Like, it almost sounds like she's just talking shit back to him. And then she said in another, adding she was going to go out in style. I don't even have any clothes you help sick. Okay, them hostage. Oh, well, I'll just do it in style naked and have a nice life. And then, yeah, so they're having this, like, total battle because he's abusive and she's trying to get her clothes and he won't let her. So now it's kind of like a more of like a desperate thing to like, fine, then I'm just gonna do this if you won't let me get my shit. This is bullshit because you're abusing me, right? You're abusing me. That's where it's coming from. You could totally tell. Rather than being the evidence of a dangerous state of mind, uh, as Davis framed them when obtaining the commitment order, prosecutors allege that when viewed in full context, full context. The text showed little more than a domestic argument. Full context matters for everything, guys. Full context. Nobody randomly started picking on people or, you know what I mean? Like, but men have been doing this the whole time. And that's the main meat of people bullying me and trying to throw me offline is trying to pull this game right here. This game, specifically this game. And so after reviewing the text messages, your Okay, so they were not able to identify any suicidal or homicidal threats or ideations, right? She could even said, "I'm gonna kill you, man." Like, what the hell, and it doesn't really mean it. Anyway, it says the texts were sent merely to elicit a response or reaction from Davis. Yeah. So while they said never had intentions of committing suicide, yeah, she wasn't saying. Yeah, see, I've actually gone through these where somebody actually really was, and they posted it, and it's quite in a different format. And it wasn't anybody picking on them or not giving them a stuff or anything like that. They really wanted somebody to stop them, and they posted something, and they were going to do something, and they wanted somebody to stop them, kind of to see if somebody would. And I did. So Davis's behavior also reflected a pattern of control and manipulation. Because he's a sociopath. Okay, seen through his 4-month relationship with her, the complaint read, which includes threats like, "I know you're not crazy. I'll paint you as crazy. I know the law." That was like the other socio fucking cop that I moved in with, and then they're like, "You don't want any problems because I am a law enforcement officer." And then all of a sudden I get thrown in the street. Yeah, uh-huh. And they start sending fucking IRS on me and shit. Like, yeah, like what the hell? The officer who is married with kids has been charged with unlawful restraint, false imprisonment, felony strangulation, and other charges. He is married with kids and has been charged with unlawful restraint, false imprisonment, felony strangulation, and other charges. Yeah. That's a typical cop right there. And he lives in a trailer. Like, what is this? What is this thing going on here? Um, yeah. We got Hillbilly Jim harming his girlfriend, and he has a wife. I mean, like, what? And she's 37, and he's going on like this. Um, yeah, trying to paint women as crazy like that. Yeah, he caused it though. That's the thing. So he's a socio. I could already tell he's a socio just from doing that. I wish we should just have a name for it though. I just call him the agitator, but it's a thing where they stir you up, and they're gonna keep doing it, and they want you to blow. Oh boy, do they want you to blow. Um, nobody's above not having that happen to them. It's just because they know how to do it. I mean, they have no emotions. I mean, no proper emotions. So to get that type of reaction is what they want. And then he got to do that to her because I guess he's mad. I guess he's just wants to take a shit out on her, right? And then paint himself as this great guy, whatever. But I wanted to do that one because it represented it. No, it just really represented to me Twitter. Like if you were to come at me and go, "How do I feel about that platform from a long time ago?" Right? I was like, this guy. Absolutely this guy. 1000% this guy all day long. He didn't show the whole context. So they use that stuff as a weapon on social media you can't take for me, the way that I type, as everybody can see, it would be really effed up just to take one paragraph of something I posted and then said I said something bad without taking the full context of everything I said. You may not want to read through it, but it's kind of important to read the full context of what I'm talking about, right? So people have been doing that. Just want to point that out. And I'm not going to change because people want to be a sociopath. They need to change for me.